Hi there, Coach Vic here to give you some excellent alternatives to grains in terms of breads and snacks and treats and things. I want to preface this conversation first, though, by saying our conversation this morning on metabolic typing and on your checklist, which shows on there use one ingredient foods, a big, huge portion of my diet, or I should say what I'm going to show you here is a very minimal part of my diet. I eat fruits, vegetables in their whole form that I source from the market or the farmer's market, and meats. Very rarely do I eat things out of a box. But I do know it's difficult to make the full-on transition into a grain-free, or even going from having those things as a regular part of your diet into not, even if they are an alternative. So I'm going to give you some alternatives. These are things I have, but like I said, they're a minimal part of my diet. So number one, the thing that most people miss when they go grain-free is bread. I talked about Simple Mills this morning. Simple Mills has crackers, and they even have cookies, all almond flour, some cassava flour sourced. And they also have the breads, and this happens to be brownie mix, but they have banana bread and pumpkin bread and an artisan bread that I actually love. It's smaller in size when it bakes out as a loaf, but it's and it kind of, to me, the denseness of it is kind of like a pumpernickel bread. I love it. I make garlic toast out of it. Out of that, I'll also make avocado toast, which starts with putting ghee and garlic under the broiler, and then I spread avocado and bacon on top, maybe a few chopped tomato, and that's a wonderful avocado toast alternative. So Simple Mills, look for them. The Gluten-Free Society, and while I'm on that subject, his book, The No Grain, No Pain, by Dr. Peter Osborne, and the Gluten-Free Society are two excellent resources to study, read, get that book. It even has a 30-day diet that you can follow. He guides you step by step. Warrior Bread is his product, and this is made from almond flour, coconut flour, organic psyllium husk, that's where you'll get your fiber from, dehydrated sweet potato, baking soda, and sea salt, and that's it. 100% grain-free. It's pretty good, and he has demonstrations on his website for making flatbread out of it, rolls, unlike the Simple Mills, which actually is more liquid, and you put it into a loaf pan. His, you actually almost knead like dough, and so that's really good. For those who are going to miss pasta, I shared this pasta this morning. It's a cassava penny. I have not had it. I bought it to share and show to you that you can go to the aisle and look for alternatives. What you don't want to do is purely go by the grain-free, or actually gluten-free. This says grain-free, which is great. That means you're not going to have corn or rice or some of the other alternative grain flours in there. If it just says gluten-free, check the label. More than likely, it's got grain. And remember, every grain has a gluten, and gluten is what causes the damage to our gut. If you miss pizza, Capello's has a couple different pizza alternatives. This brand, they also have a couple of different pasta alternatives. Likewise, this is almond flour. It also includes arrowroot flour, cassava flour. They don't use dairy milk, they use coconut milk. So this one's truly a paleo kind of alternative. This is frozen, in the frozen section. Speaking of arrowroot flour, that one is right here, or tapioca flour and arrowroot flour are both great for thickening things, like if you're going to make a gravy and have it grain free. And if you miss cereal, a couple of different other alternative flours for making things, and you'd have to find a good recipe that knows how to adjust from a regular flour. Now this is not organic, but it's very fairly priced at Trader Joe's, is their almond meal. It's not as fine as a flour, but it adds great texture to like a cookie, if you're going to make a cookie. And this is a mixture of cassava and cauliflower flours, which are probably great for making a crust, a pizza crust, various things. This is also from Trader Joe's. Okay, I make my own cereal, my own grain-free cereal from seeds and nuts, but to buy it, here is a sprouted granola, grain-free, Lark Ellen. I got this at Mother's. And this one here, Purely Elizabeth, they have several that are not grain-free, so make sure you find the grain-free part. They've got good ones. And here's one that might remind you more of a traditional cereal. There are several on the shelf, but most of them will have some, not maybe necessarily grain, but they'll have other, too many additives to it. This one, Forager, is, you notice the grams and the added sugars. There's 4 added sugars. You know, this isn't something you're going to have all the time, but you can hardly tell the difference. I mean, I don't eat a lot of sugar, so so the sweetness isn't my thing. But Forager, this one has cassava root, navy beans, sunflower oil, safflower oil, cocoa powder, and pea protein. It also has some cane sugar. That's where the added sugars come in. So this is a good gluten-free alternative. It's not sugar-free, so if you are going to go strict on the sugar, which I recommend at first, this would not be an alternative. But it's a pretty decent cereal, and I'll mix my grain-free, my seeds and nuts with this, and it's actually one that I can eat, and I actually feel like I had some protein. So there's a few tips, a few alternatives. If that helps you, I hope it does. And I'm going to see you tomorrow, and we'll talk. I can answer some questions about this. These things you can source at a Whole Foods, some at a Sprouts, but 100% of this, besides Trader Joe's, I got everything else at Mother's Market, which is local to Southern California. Okay, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.